Your sink isn't clogged. Not completely. Because if it was, water wouldn't move at all. But it does. Slowly. Painfully. Just enough to annoy you every single day. And that's what confuses people. Because slow drains don't feel serious at first. The water still disappears. Eventually. So most people ignore it. Until one day, the sink starts filling faster than it empties. The smell appears. The gurgling starts. And suddenly, a simple annoyance feels like a plumbing disaster. That's when people usually panic. They buy chemical drain cleaners. Strong ones. The kind with warning labels. The kind that promise instant results. And for a moment, it seems like they work. The water drops. The drain clears slightly. The problem feels gone. But then, a few weeks later, it comes back. Sometimes worse. Now here's the part most people never realize. Drain chemicals usually don't remove the buildup. They punch through it. That's different. Because inside your pipes, the blockage isn't solid. It's layers. Grease. Soap residue. Hair. Food particles. Mineral deposits. All clinging to the pipe walls like wet glue. And over time, those layers narrow the opening more and more. Not enough to stop water completely. Just enough to slow everything down. Now years ago, before chemical drain cleaners took over store shelves, plumbers handled this differently. They focused on movement, pressure, release, not corrosion, because older plumbers understood something important. Most drain buildup doesn't need to be destroyed. It needs to detach. That's the key. And once you understand that, the old $1 method suddenly makes perfect sense. Now here's where things get interesting. This method uses almost nothing. Hot water, dish soap, and pressure. That's it. No acids, no harsh chemicals, no expensive tools, because grease inside pipes behaves differently under heat. Cold grease hardens, sticks, builds layers, but heat softens it, weakens its grip, makes it movable again. That's why old plumbers always started with temperature first, not chemicals. Now imagine bacon grease inside a cold pan. Sticky, solid, difficult to remove. Then warm the pan slightly. Suddenly, everything loosens. That's exactly what happens inside your drain. And once buildup softens, water pressure becomes much more effective. Now here's the mistake most people make. They pour hot water once, then expect miracles. But this method isn't about one quick flush. It's about sequence. Timing matters. First, dish soap goes into the drain, not randomly, purposefully, because soap grabs grease, separates it, lifts it away from surfaces. Then comes very hot water, not warm, hot enough to soften buildup deep inside the pipe. And once the grease loosens, something important happens. Flow changes. Suddenly the water moves differently, faster, smoother. That deep suction sound appears. That's the pipe clearing itself, not chemically, physically. Now here's why plumbers trusted this method for years. It preserved pipes. That mattered, especially in older homes, because harsh drain chemicals slowly damage plumbing systems over time. Metal weakens. Seals dry out. Pipe interiors roughen, and rough surfaces collect even more buildup later. That creates a cycle. More clogging, more chemicals, more damage, more clogging again. Now suddenly, the solution becomes part of the problem. That's why experienced plumbers often avoided chemicals unless absolutely necessary. Not because chemicals never worked, because they understood long-term effects. Older plumbing systems were built to last decades, but only if treated correctly. Now here's another thing people don't realize. Most slow drains begin long before symptoms appear. Tiny buildup starts forming silently. Every day, small grease particles, soap film, mineral residue. And because the pipe still works, nobody notices, until flow becomes restricted enough to feel different. That's why prevention mattered so much to old plumbers, not emergency fixes, maintenance. Now imagine keeping your drain smooth inside. Before major buildup ever forms, everything changes. Water moves freely. Odors reduce. Future clogs become less likely. That's what this old method was really about, maintaining flow, not fighting disasters. Now here's the actual process. First, pour a small amount of dish soap directly into the drain, especially grease-cutting soap. Then wait briefly. Let it coat the buildup. After that, slowly pour very hot water. Not all at once. Steady flow matters. You want the heat traveling deep into the pipe system, softening layers gradually. Then comes the final step, pressure. A quick flush of additional hot water. That sudden movement helps detach loosened buildup all at once. And within seconds, you often hear it. That rushing sound, that sudden emptying. That's the restriction breaking loose. Now here's where the conspiracy angle quietly appears again. If simple maintenance methods prevent recurring drain problems, what happens to repeat chemical sales? What happens to drain cleaners, monthly treatments, pipe corroding chemicals, emergency clog products? That's the uncomfortable reality. Permanent prevention is difficult to monetize. Recurring problems are profitable. Now obviously, This method won't fix every drain issue. A severe blockage may still require mechanical cleaning, tree roots, collapsed pipes, heavy solid obstructions. Those are different situations. But everyday slow drains, kitchen buildup, soap accumulation, that's where this old plumber method shines, because most household clogs develop gradually, not suddenly. Now here's another reason plumbers preferred this approach: safety. Chemical drain cleaners create heat reactions inside pipes, sometimes dangerous ones, especially if products mix together accidentally. Fumes, splashing, pipe stress. Older plumbers saw those problems constantly. That's why many trusted simpler systems instead. Less risk, more control. Now think about how strange modern drain cleaning became. People pour aggressive chemicals into plumbing systems without understanding what's actually inside the pipe. That's backwards. Old school plumbers focused on diagnosis first. What caused the restriction? Grease? Hair? Soap film? Minerals? Different problems behave differently. That mattered. Now here's something fascinating. Once people stop relying heavily on drain chemicals, their plumbing systems often behave better long term, because smooth pipe interiors resist buildup naturally. Flow stays stronger. Future clogs reduce. Again, maintenance beats reaction. That pattern keeps repeating. Now imagine your sink draining smoothly again. No standing water, no smells, no slow swirling, just normal flow. Quiet, fast, clean. That's what people used to expect before recurring chemical cycles became normal. Now there's another hidden benefit. This method costs almost nothing. That's important. Because plumbing issues feel expensive emotionally, the moment water slows, people imagine huge repair bills, major pipe work, emergency service calls. But often, the issue starts as simple buildup, and simple buildup responds surprisingly well to simple methods. That's why these forgotten tricks survive for generations, not because they sound impressive, because they work consistently enough for ordinary people. Now think about how many old household methods disappeared over time, not because they failed, because convenience products replaced them. People stopped learning systems and started depending entirely on products instead. That shift changed everything. Now every small problem feels like something that must be purchased away. But old plumbers approach things differently. Understand the behavior first, then apply the simplest effective solution. That mindset solved problems cheaply for decades. Now next time your sink slows down, before reaching for another harsh chemical bottle, try the old plumber method. Dish soap, very hot water, controlled pressure, simple, cheap, quietly effective. Because your drain probably isn't blocked the way you think. It's holding on. And sometimes, the best fix isn't destruction, it's release.